William. Ato in Juba, Military, hey, I'm yo, in Ping William. Ato in Benti, wala kwaju, hey, wow, in Ping William. Ato in Malkal, wala Pinyaram, in Ping William.
Good morning, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Legislative Media. My name is Abraham Majak. I'm one of the Legislative Media hosts. Please start sharing the video while we wait for my guests. My guest this morning is Colonel Stephen Ladu. He's here with us in the studio. Bear with us, so he will come back. So please, meanwhile we're waiting for him to come into the studio, please start sharing this live show on the Facebook, YouTube, and also for those of you in Clubhouse, please start pinning people in. This interview will be based on our last interview with Colonel Stephen. We will pick up where we left off. So, Colonel, welcome, Colonel Stephen, to Legislative Media again. Thank you for coming in today to brief South Sudanese in South Sudan, in diaspora, and around the world about your movement. Thank you again for accepting our invitation. So before we dive in our conversation, Colonel Stephen, I would like you, I will give you 1 to 2 minutes, introduce yourself and your movement. Thank you. Fadal.
It's like your mic seems to be very far from you.
Okay.
I couldn't get you clearly. Come up.
Okay, I said welcome. So I would like you to introduce yourself and also give out the background about your movement, NAS RCC, and your mission and mission statement, and then before we dive in our conversation, go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, Abraham, for contacting me for the second time in Legislative Media. I'm honored to be here and to share with you what is going on within the political and security arenas within NAS. I would like to say this is the second time you contacted us. The first time you had interview with us was a little bit late, and we couldn't really make it as we expect because of the time, and also we were unprepared when you contacted us at that time. So I'm much honored to be here today to share with you the current affairs and the latest development as far as NAS affairs is concerned. As you ask, of course, Colonel Stephen Lokaja is my name, and I'm at the moment the acting chair of the NAS Revolutionary Command Council Committee for Information and Public Relations. As you know, NAS Revolutionary Command Council is actually a transformation of NAS itself. It is the transformation of NAS, National Salvation Front, into the Revolutionary Command Council, and it have not changed. its vision and the mission, and but only the circumstances that lead to the transformation is what I may briefly give you the background. As you people have been following, I think this NAS Revolutionary Command Council came up in its declaration, a statement dated 5th February 2024. As you might have gone through, there were sufficient reasons that lead to the transformation of NAS into the Revolutionary Command Council, as was stated in the declaration statement. And this did not come out of nothing, but it came up as a response to the leadership intransigencies and the weaknesses of General Thomas Cirillo as the chairman of NAS. As many knew, we as the members, the fighters, and the revolutionaries in the movement knew more than any other might have known from outside the weaknesses and the challenges within the movement, within National Salvation Front. So the declaration of the 5th February did not come out of blue, but it came up as a response to the reasons as attached to that declaration. So we are NAS and remain NAS with the same vision and mission, as we only dismiss the leadership of General Thomas Cirillo. And we are going on to make sure the objectives for which we took up arms for the last 7 years is realized. So there is nothing much I can say about the mission and vision because it remains the same, and National Salvation Front also remains the same as it transformed itself into the Revolutionary Command Council, just as a result of leadership change. That is briefly about what I can say about brief introduction.
Thank you so much, Colonel Stephen, for a brief background and the mission of the NAS RCC. When you guys declare your to remove General Thomas on the 5th of February, and you said that you dismissed, what lead your command council to take that position to remove General Thomas Cirillo from the leadership of NAS? What are the reasons? Come
a little bit. Your voice down. I don't know whether it's the mic or what.
So what about now? Am I clear?
Yeah, the mic is now somehow clear.
Okay, let me check my mic. Okay, so what I'm saying is when you guys take a lead to remove General Thomas Cirillo. So my mic is good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you. Yeah.
Okay, if this microphone is not working, I can remove. So what is, can you tell the South Sudanese who are listening to you today, what take you that bold decision to fire or to remove General Thomas Cirillo from the NAS?
Well, thank you, Abraham, for that question. I think you and me and others who are listening to this interview knows very well, following the footsteps since the inception of National Salvation Front, up to date, for whoever has been following the footsteps of how General Thomas was leading the movement, he couldn't at the moment asked to be enlightened or informed of what actually the nature of General Thomas' leadership is. And for us as members and the fighters, the revolutionaries who were with him in the movement has been all these 7 years following him. And there are several things we have presented pointing at some of the challenges that the movement is facing as a result of his individual leadership weaknesses or failures. But all of a sudden, General Thomas is taking things for granted. First and foremost, since the inception of National Salvation Front, a revolutionary movement which constitutes a part of the military, I would like to make it clear today that since the beginning, General Thomas, as the leader of the movement himself, has never one day took upon himself to come on the ground and really see that what he is leading is truly an organized military or armed unit that is sufficient enough to effect the change that people of South Sudan want. All he did since the inception was just to be, first was in the neighboring countries, and just 1 to 2 years time later, he just shipped and moved far away, crossing the boundary of the whole continent of Africa, and choosing to go abroad, Europe or in the Western world, to just command the movement from far. And while there are so many challenges that emerge, which were presented to him, but he chose to just lead according to his will, not really following exactly what are the challenges, what are the practical challenges the ordinary military personnel or the soldier on the ground is facing in the pursuit of this struggle for freedom. So that by itself is an indication of Thomas' lack of commitment to see to it that really what he started, he is capable of executing. So that one was the first, in the first place, was the first thing that has made him to become a weak leader in the face of his combatants.
Thank you so much, Colonel Stephen. Thank you for answering my question. My next question regarding about seeing you guys declare your position on the February 5th. Seeing that yet General Thomas contact you guys to make a peace between you and them, so that you guys can like to go back to NAS, or did one of member or him himself, General Thomas, did contact you guys or not? Saying you declare on the February 5th.
Your camera seems to be, I don't know, is it the camera or the
Okay, what about now?
Yes, that way is very clear, but the first I couldn't hear you well.
Okay. Mike, sorry about that. Okay. My question is, seeing you got declaration on the February 5th, that you dismiss General Thomas Chirilo. Have General Thomas Chirilo contact your team regarding about the position, the bold position that you guys took on that time? Did you talk to him or not? Seeing that.
For him to talk to us, you mean him contacting us to ask us on the decision we made?
Yeah, to ask the decision you make, or to make like to say that you guys did this and I forgive you and you guys need to come back for position, or bring him back to be to be a chairman of NAS?
Thank you. On that, I think we knew very well the time we make the decision. When we make that decision, we knew very well that we can't, we will not expect any call or favor from any of this Thomas Cirillo's group, because he knew when we made that decision, even before we could make that decision, he knew what is going on. And since we made the declaration, knowing very well the intransigencies and the weaknesses, the challenges that before that decision is made, he had been presented, that by itself make General Thomas Cirillo not to contact us, because he knew we were really committed in the decision we took. The decision we took was 100% well-informed decision that was meant to answer the questions that many were yearning for. So that way, he couldn't contact us for any talks or any comment about whether to reunite or to find way out to, for instance, mediate anything that he deemed necessary. And on our side, we look at it as even not important, because for the last 7 years, of course, we have done our part. The personnel, the officers on the ground did their part, and we knew what we have done. And when we made the decision, even we knew what the ordinary soldiers will feel about. So there is nothing like any communication from him, neither on our side, and that is the position up to now.
Thank you, Colonel Stephen. Colonel Stephen, do you have any forces now available on the ground in South Sudan? And or when you guys declare yourself that you are dismissed, General Thomas Cirillo, do any NAS forces, some of the NAS forces, are still loyalty to General Thomas Cirillo? Are there any forces left loyalty to General Thomas Cirillo right now or not?
As for the forces on the ground, of course, as we made it in the declaration very clear, the decision was made by those who had been commanding the forces on the ground. It was not made by those urban generals. General Thomas was at the hearing or listening to much. It was a decision made by those who have direct command on the ground, and were actually in the lead of the forces on the ground. So to say whether we have forces on the ground or not is it will be it can't really serve us much purpose there, because we know we are the one in charge, and we are the one who from day one knew on the ground who is where, and which front is active, and which front is the commander is there and not there, who are those in the cities, even on the ground, which commander has already left his area of command and come on to the neighboring countries. We all know those. So the ground is in touch. We are in touch with the ground, and we have forces in our various locations who are under our direct command. Yes, as you said it, of course, after the happening, after the declaration, you have seen a lot of propaganda going on. The forces and those loyal more especially, let me say, those at the political wing, because much of the thing was that the political wing was having much influence on General Thomas. That is why he couldn't put much of his attention even to the command on the ground. So there's so many noises being made through press releases, through propaganda. It is the politicians who were with him, and most of them were in diaspora, and the neighboring countries were the one making noise, making all the propaganda, this and that. But to assure you, the ground is level, and General Thomas is only left with his yes men and his close friends who are with him in the urban cities within the region and in the diaspora. This is as for the position as it is now.
Thank you, Colonel Stephen. Let me bring, do you know Francis? Francis, can you put your camera down so that we can see your face? And also, Colonel Stephen, can you introduce Francis? Let us give a chance to Francis so introduce himself before we move forward to our discussion. And also, I have one of the gentlemen, Agustino. Do you know these two gentlemen, Stephen?
I knew Francis Limbe, but I don't know this Fitia Agustino Giada Mudi.
Okay. Okay, Francis, go ahead and introduce yourself before we move to our next question. Thank you. We cannot hear you, Francis. No, we cannot hear. Yeah, your mic is not, we cannot hear you. We can hear you speak, but we cannot hear your sound. Try to log out and come back to check. Okay, meanwhile, we're waiting for Francis to fix his microphone. Let me proceed ahead with you, Colonel Stephen. Last week, we have seen Major General Robin Ladu join the government. He joined SSPDF with 600 forces. What is your reaction? Do you aware that Major General Robert Ladu joined the government? And what is your point? Do you know him? Are you a part of? He's a part of the movement of NAS RCC, or you're not aware of? Can you tell us about him and what is your reaction on him joining the government? Thank you.
For the case of Major General Major General Robert Ladu, that one is an exceptional personal case issue. Yes, in the beginning, in the declaration, of course, Major General Robert Ladu was part of the decision to dismiss General Thomas. However, 1 week after that, he unilaterally decided to go to Juba to join the government. And although he did not communicate his intention openly to us, he just surprised us the day he just communicated with us. And what inspired him actually was, of course, as you might have been following, one of the major general in the commander of Western Juba and Lanya Command of National Salvation Front, Major General Emmanuel Salam, who declared to join SSBDF, seems to have influenced him. So he was influenced by that, because what we realized was, of course, they were close friends long time ago, and I think he considered that friendship of theirs and forget the case that we stood to struggle for. So he just decided to go with Emmanuel Salah, but his decision has no any effect on the National Salvation Front Revolutionary Command Council, and because we, as we met in our declaration, actually didn't change anything, including the vision and the mission, because we see it into it that it is necessary to bring peace to our people. But the question now is, how can we bring that peace? And we said the best way to bring peace is, of course, as a revolutionary movement, we cannot close all options that can bring us closer to peace, including negotiation with the government. So that is the position we have taken, because General Thomas, as the leader of National Salvation Front, has not been honest both to the members of the movement and the people of South Sudan. And you guys might have been following in the media, and that one was the position we have taken. We need to restore peace to our people, and since the government have shown interest of coming on table to negotiate, then we as an all-out group, as NAS, have no reason to reject or to refuse coming on the table to discuss the issues face to face. And that one is the motivation for our decision that has actually given us the ground to hold Thomas and dismiss him, because he has not been honest. He has not been honest. Every time a statement is issued, the statement is he is prepared to find lasting peace through peaceful negotiation. But when time comes for that negotiation, he shifted or he changed his mind. So this one was the position, and up to now we still stood by that position, to sit with the government and to negotiate any possible means of restoring peace to our people. And this has not deviated the vision and the mission of NAS in any way. So this is what I can say. But for the case of Robert, Robert is, as an individual, have decided to join the government like any other party member from any of the rest of the parties before, who may decide and join the government just for reasons well known to him. So we did not consider his joining the government as a threat, or has nothing to do, or has never changed anything in our pursuit for sustainable peace for our people.
Thank you, Colonel Stephen. You know, the declaration statement you got put out on the 5th of February, and the name of the member of NAS RCC are 14 members. And number one in those people, members that signed the declaration, the statement, number one in that list is Robert Ladu, Major General Robert Ladu Marpo, the chief of MI, who is the one that joined the government now with 600 forces or more. Why is it? So he was a part of you, and then he decided that to join the government with 600 and more soldiers. Why can you and the rest of member of NAS RCC do the same, to join the government the way that Major General Robert Ladu did, instead of waiting for the Rome or Nairobi, Kenya peace negotiation with the government?
Thank you for that brilliant question. You see, Comrade Abraham, it's a well-known fact that there is no any revolutionary movement that can wage a war or emerge out of blue without a consideration for reasons as to why they wage war against a particular system or a regime. So NAS did not just emerge out of blue. It was NAS emerged as a result of conditions and prevailing circumstances that was going through the masses of our people. And with this in mind, it will not be something reasonable enough after all these 7 years of struggling in the bushes of South Sudan, struggling to bring in change. Change does not mean just change for its own sake, but change in the matter in the manner of things that is happening in the country, and to be exact, the situation that warrant the formation of the movement by itself. We all know the government for the last 13 years, or 10 to 11 years since independence of South Sudan. There are a lot of challenges that the people of South Sudan has been going through. So National Salvation Front did not just emerge out of blue, so that when time come, when it is in my interest, I will just say, okay, I have to go and join the government, and that is all. No, there were reasons and there were issues to be addressed, to be discussed, and for those in power to understand why in the first place did people took up the arms to resist the existing structures of the government. So by just individually waking up in the morning and saying, okay, let me join the government, it will appear like for the last 7 years we have betrayed the cause of for which our people are going through. We know the people of South Sudan are going through a lot of challenges. So the better way to address these challenges is when we sit down in the table of brotherhood, and together, those in the government are South Sudanese. Yes, we also who are on the opposition, we are also South Sudanese. So, but since now there is difference that arise, and in the due course of the differences, people have died, resources has been squandered, and then properties has been destroyed. So what can we do? The question is, what can we do to restore back normalcy? It is on the basis of a brotherly discussion. We sit down as South Sudanese in the table of brotherhood and we discuss, knowing very well our weaknesses, whether the government or even we cannot say we are 100% perfect in the opposition. But the best we can do is to sit down in the table of brotherhood and then we discuss, we talk. And then first we put the interests of South Sudan at the heart, and we shall address all the challenges that our people are going through amicably, and we go back home as brothers and sisters, united in spirit and in actions. So that is the way we see that solving the problem of South Sudan that way will be the only way to bring lasting peace. Other than me as individual, after waging war against the government, and just all of a sudden I will just go and say, okay, I'm back, just to be given a place or a space and sit there, and then still seeing the betting, the negative things that is happening to our ordinary or the local people happening, and I will just be silent about it. That way, we could have not done anything. So that is the background under which some of us have taken that decision to say we have to sit down in the negotiation, be it here in Nairobi or elsewhere. We sit and then we talk. The government of the day is a government by South Sudanese. So as South Sudanese, they have to listen also, and we discuss our issues amicably. If we can reach a solution in the shortest time possible, that could be better, and we bring peace back to our people. So that, I think, is the best way we see addressing the issues of South Sudan could be, and then just individually taking maybe a decision of going and as individual and join the government, and just because my interest or my personal interest is being taken care of. That is why we have chosen to join the peace process and to discuss and talk with the government to reach a consensus.
Thank you so much, Colonel Stephen, for answering my question. Before I bring in Mr. Francis in, Francis, I would like you to introduce yourself.
Hello?
Yeah, hello, yes, we can hear you now. Yeah, go ahead.
Excellent, excellent. My name is Francis. I'm here in the United States, and I'm an ordinary citizen. I'm not part of any movement or part of the government. My question is that I was in Juba, like in December, and I see the situation of people that are suffering. People yelling for peace. They need peace in the country. So, but there's some other grievances, which is legitimate for the people of Equatorial especially, regarding the system of the governance. So you, as you take part from the liberation movement of General Thomas Cirillo, and people say that you have surrendered to the government because it's still their concern or their grievances are not yet addressed, especially the land grabbing. So how are you going to address the issue of the land grabbing in order to satisfy the people that who are still suffering, especially in Equatoria? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Francis. Agustino, are you there? Francis, do you know Agustino?
Yeah, I know him. He's from, he's in Canada.
Okay, Agustino, can you hear me?
No,
Okay,
yes.
Agustino, it seems like it's not there. Go ahead, Stephen, to answer the question regarding Francis' race.
Yes, thank you, Brother Limbe, for your elaborate question. I think the question of the issue of surrender or not surrender is a normal language that every citizen or to be a specific members of as we all know, there are so many opposition groups in South Sudan who still don't agree with the government today, and if they hear anyone alluding or responding to negotiation with the government, they just came up with that abrupt conclusion that so and so has surrendered to the government and this and that. But I would like to categorically, I would like to say that is the language of those outside there actually who knows how to put things. But as of now, somebody who surrendered to the government would have already been in Juba with the government and will not even talk of negotiation with the government. But the fact that we are looking to negotiate with the government is an indication of no surrender, because at the end of the day, we are not negotiating in Juba. We are outside Juba. If any negotiation with the government, we are negotiating out of Juba. So there is no logic for someone to conclude that so and so have surrendered. And coming to the issue of the land, the issue of land is a general issue. Is actually a national security issue in the Republic of South Sudan. It's a very serious issue, and it is one of the driving factor that is contributing to most of the conflicts, not only in Equatoria, but in the rest of the region of South Sudan. When we see there is conflict in Upper Nile related to the issue of land. When we go back, remembering the conflict between the Solo or the Siluk and the Nuer and the Dinka Ampadang, those are all cases of land issues, land question that is prompting the people, the citizen, to fight against each other. Going to Barakazal, the same. You find communities fighting against each other on the issue of land. The only funny thing in Juba or in South Sudan, in Equatoria, is knowing very well Juba is now the capital city of South Sudan. Of course, very many people have interest of finding a habitat where to stay, and given the condition, the prevailing circumstances, the lack of rule of law in the country, it becomes apparent that individuals who have power in their hand took upon themselves to just unilaterally took upon themselves to find wherever there is an empty land. They claim any empty land where people have not settled or cultivated is just a no man's land, and they begin to occupy it possibly because they have power at hand. So the issue of this land grabbing can we even in the opposition or National Salvation Front as a movement alone cannot fight this issue in the barrel of gun and solve it in one day. This is a process where all South Sudanese has to be brought together, and most importantly, this will depend on the agreement people will reach upon. And when people reach any agreement, then it is now the government of the day, the inclusive government, a government that is comprising of all the people, equally formed out of the people, and with a strong institutions like the parliament to pass a legislation, and then a strong law will be passed to monitor the land management, so that whoever is complacent in land grabbing can be held accountable, so that nobody can take power in his hand to claim he is powerful, more powerful than the law of their hand, and just unilaterally took upon himself to occupy people's land without consequences. So the issue of land grabbing thing is one of the major issue that will be tabled on negotiation, even table, and this is something to be discussed when there is opportunity, as I said before, in the table of negotiation and discussion, for a government that is strong enough that can uphold rule of law, and people who may be caught in this act of land grabbing has to be prosecuted without any favor, without as to where to which party he belongs or where he come from. The law has to be a law that punishes whoever is caught in any criminal act. So the issue of land grabbing is an issue of governance that can be discussed in a due process of negotiation. So those who are saying we have surrendered to Juba, we have done this, these are just naysayers, and most of them are people who have not even seen the realities. I'm proud my brother Francis was talking of having gone to Juba and have seen the situation in Juba by himself, and he is well acquainted with the situation on the ground, compared to anyone who might have not gone to Juba for the last 5 to 10 years, but he is just hearing information in the media and just coming up with his own conclusion. So we have not surrendered to the government as the illusionists, those the naysayers are saying. We have just dismissed the leader of NAS, and we are in the pursuit of negotiation with the government. And when time comes, among the issues to be negotiated or to be discussed on the table of negotiation is the land question. This is what I would like to assure whoever is listening to this, that we have never surrendered and we shall never surrender as long as our call for inclusive peace and dialogue is not being listened to.
Thank you so much, Colonel Stephen, and also thank you, Mr. Francis, for the wonderful, good question that you asked. And follow-up question regarding about question that Francis asked Colonel Stephen is, yeah, you answered very good, and I like the way that you answered it, because the land issue should be based, the government should take care of the issues and bring those people responsible for land grabbing and held accountable. That which is good. Follow-up question regarding about these issues. So my question to you, Colonel Stephen, has you been with the NAS and the Thomas Shirelo movement when he created the NAS movement? What are the core values of the NAS regarding when we hear from Thomas Shirelo's member, some of the member, land issues is one of the number one things concerned about it, and also we have another group called separatists. They claim that they want to separate from South Sudan because of the land issues. They want independent of Equatoria. What are foundation of NAS when General Thomas Shirelo founded NAS movement? Is it NAS founded based on the land issues, or founded on parliamentary disagreement between the government within the government in there. So what is it? What the reason? What is the reason? General Thomas Cirillo pick up arm and fight the government? Is it because of the? Is it because of the land issues, or is it because of the political issues like what Dr. Riek Machar fought with the government in 2013? So can you guys clarify that? Thank you.
Thank you. Honestly, I think you guys in the media might have been following and reading any updates or even the documents since the inception of National Salvation Front. The core values include unity, good governance, peace, and dignity of every South Sudanese, irrespective of his tribe, region, religion, and ethnicity. So, on the question of whether NAS was based on the land question or something else, I would like to say and be very clear. National Salvation Front in the beginning and as a national movement is actually focused first and foremost on the unity of the people of South Sudan. And the fundamental question is, how can we unite the people of South Sudan? Of course, after the independence of South Sudan, there are a lot of things that emerge. There are a group of people, many of them who even corrupted the current existing system. The SPLA, that was before the independence of South Sudan is different from the SPLA after the independence of South Sudan. And this one can be, I would like to be very specific here, following some of the species, like when Dr. John Garang was still alive. You see, one of the core fundamental reasons during the SPLA struggle was the issue of identity politics. The issue of identity politics was what Dr. John Garang centered the struggle of SPLM upon. And it was the same reason that has even made the SPLA succeeded to achieve the independence for the people of South Sudan and the other marginalized Sudanese communities. But when South Sudan gained independence, things all of a sudden changed. Every South Sudanese knew this. People from the broader perspective of nationhood, a nation where all the ethnicities, all the tribes, all the communities from different background came together to constitute a state change. The state itself, the state of South Sudan, automatically was hijacked by men and women who did not even realize or suffered the consequences of a true struggle. So this is what actually changed the dynamics. And then SPLM went astray. Those women came closer to the leadership and to President Kir as the president, the advisors. Most of them were once the enemies of SPLA during the struggle liberation. So these things have changed the narratives all of a sudden. The vision of Dr. John Garang was put into dustbin, and things begin to change all of a sudden. Corruption in the government and identity politics, like before during Sudan, it was the identity politics based on religion, Islamism or Arabism, Bas nationalism. So when SPLA took over the leadership after independence, there emerged a class of people who only wanted to gain momentum or get rich in a short possible time by corrupting the people of South Sudan through institutions and practices by such as tribalism. And it was from the tribalism that begins where the identity politics emerge. People begin identifying themselves according to tribes. This is tribe so and so, this is tribe so and so. And with that machinations, things begin to grow, and no sooner had all these differences being realized than the conflict erupted in 2013. And every South Sudanese, more especially you who are in diaspora, knew this trend clearly. When the conflict broke out first in 2013, what was the nature of conflict? Was it truly a politically based conflict? Was it based on ideological differences as a means of solving political differences? Or it was purely an ethnic-based conflict? This one was the base under which the 2013 conflict was described. In most cases, the government may not agree to this, but honestly, yes, it started with the political elites, but it is descended into now tribal line down there, because we have politicians who think that by corrupting or influencing, manipulating the local people who knew nothing about politics, their political interests can succeed. So they went down to corrupt the people, to brainwash the innocent people in the villages, to reign against each other. And that has caused a lot of lives of South Sudanese based on ethnic identity. So this one was the major problem. So in the beginning, National Salvation Front emerged to answer that question, to restore back the dignity and the unity of the people based on the former SPLA political ideological struggle, where identity politics should be put aside and nationalism has to come to the core, so that whoever will come to leadership position has to be through the will of the people. The people has to accept that we accept so and so, despite or regardless of his ethnic or regional background, as long as he caters, he takes care of the interests of the people in terms of considering and respecting human rights, providing services, and promoting unity and all other things that human being actually needs. So it was on that background that this NAS from the beginning emerged. But somewhere, somehow, given the situation in the politics of South Sudan, and coupled with the current improvement in technology, things change. And when you have been following this, General Thomas himself, when he speaks to the people, he talks different things. Yes, there are issues that he may talk of, but in practice, what does he entrusted to really manage the affairs of the movement is a different thing altogether. And several times we have a divergence and a disagreement over which the affairs of national salvation is being managed under the leadership of Thomas. But because during that time, some of us we were considered only military officers, and we shouldn't say any wrong that is being promoted or perpetuated by those in the leadership position of the movement. So that if we point out mistakes, we are automatically pointed as enemies in the system, or disloyal officers, or people who are conspiring, or people who are against actually the movement. So, and it was from that background that things begin now to emerge, differences begin to build up until all of a sudden things falls apart. So to say whether national salvation under General Thomas Cirillo is truly standing by its principle is something else now, I can't guarantee that, because I have seen with my own eyes. And as you said, of course, we have individuals who think that the problem of South Sudan is only the problem of a specific region. To be exact, let me say it is the problem of Equatoria, for instance. Others, like you said, there are those advocates who are advocating actually for the separation of Equatoria from the greater South Sudan. But to people like myself and we who are really well embedded with the spirit of the nationalism, the African consciousness, the African nationalism, we look at the problem of South Sudan at the context of the governance and the suffering of the South Sudanese people has never excluded whether you belong to the Dinka, to the Nuer, to the Siluk, to whichever tribe, whichever region, Barakazal, Upper Nile, or Equatoria. The people of South Sudan are equally suffering, the same suffering, as a result of the poor mismanagement of the affairs of the country. So we look at the problem of South Sudan at the moment in that angle, so that if there is anything we need to help, we need to do, we need to solve, we must solve the problem of the people of South Sudan as a whole, not as Equatorial, because we are already informed. History has demonstrated now we are all a product of history. We South Sudanese. Nobody wishes to be a South Sudanese today as an independent state. Based on our first ideological political journey, we knew very well that our people a long time ago, before let me say, even when we go back to the 1947 Juba conference, the South Sudanese did not opt to become a different people from Sudan, because Sudan belongs to them. It was only the system of governance that the people were calling to be instituted. The people of Sudan by then, including our South Sudanese, were calling for a system of governance that is convenient to all the constituencies, including the people of South Sudan. But because that one was not accepted, it has now resulted to the prevailing continuous conflict that for the last 50 years until the independence of South Sudan. So the people of South Sudan did not choose independence out of blue, but because the conditions were no longer conducive to sustain war for over 50 years. So now we are a country, we are South Sudan. The first president of South Sudan is President Salva Kiir. Yes. If Kiir has failed as a leader, then that does not mean the end of South Sudan. We are expecting another leader. And if we all stood as united people, regardless of our tribes, regardless of our region or our ethnicity, we shall change the situation and then bring a leader that will transform and make South Sudan a nation that all of us will be happy of, regardless of our ethnicities. Because what happened in South Sudan, it has happened everywhere. It happens the neighboring Uganda. For those who were well versed with the history of East Africa and history of Uganda, knew when Uganda gained independence in 1962, what happens? There were a lot of political instabilities, changes, until when the current leadership in Uganda came to power, is when Uganda realized there is relevant peace. So there is no condition that is permanent. Reason for those advocates to call that Equatorial should go separate. Sometimes I ask, if, for instance, we said, okay, now that there is problem in the whole South Sudan, and we Equatorial should emerge out or should separate from South Sudan. Okay, after we separate from South Sudan, and the same problem tomorrow happens, what else will happen after that? What else are people going to say? Meaning, we wanted to disintegrate this society with only a short-term interest of individuals, looking the greater perspective of the gains that we can get in a united country that is governed on the basis of rule of law and the respect of human rights. This is the position we are looking at now. So anybody who will say the problem of South Sudan, whether you are in Barakazal or in Upper Nile or in Equatoria, and you look at the current problem of South Sudan as the problem of your region or your community, then you are a short-sighted and you are just an introvert. I can say you are just a self-centered person. You have not seen how the world dynamic is going on. And I will not stand by those who advocate for that, because Equatoria is part of South Sudan, and from Equatoria shall emerge a leader who will serve all the people of South Sudan without discrimination, without favor, and will offer equal opportunities and development. If time comes, everything is just a matter of time. So instead of working to realize that dream, the naysayers or the pessimists who think the problem of South Sudan is Equatoria are just people who have no interest of actually restoring the dignity and the peace of our people at heart. And they don't have love for humanity, by the way, because now we have seen the results, even after we emerged from Sudan. Have we been peaceful? Have Sudan been peaceful? Sudan is today in conflict. So these are examples, these are live examples that should teach us, should teach whoever is aspiring to be a leader to consider this as a practical example, that once a situation arises, when a problem emerges, we shouldn't point fingers anyhow, but we should work together collectively to restore solution and really seeing to it that we produce the best out of the situation for all of us. So this is the position I'm saying in regards to those advocates, those Equatorians who are calling for separation, because there is no problem. There is no problem at all. President Kir's time will come and he will go, and another leader will come. We never know. The leader who will follow Kir will be the best leader that can do the best for the people of South Sudan. So it is us together to work for that, to realize that we restore this country back to normalcy, because it is a country that we gain with the real utmost sacrifice. That is all I can say for that. And back to you, Comrade Abraham.
Thank you so much, Colonel Stephen, for answering my question. That's wonderful. Answered it. Colonel Stephen, last week on Sunday, the Army Barrack in Giada caught fire, and 8 people.
Abraham, can I intervene before you jump to that question?
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Thank you, Abraham. Thank you, Abraham, actually, for bringing Stephen to this interview. Stephen looked like he's a student of politics and understand the difference between politics and war. And he's very eloquent in his point in addressing the root cause of our country. And since he said that there's a emerge when they break out from the government, there's a emerge of between the NAS has an ideas of how to emerge into the SPLM ideology that exists during the Gerang time. And because that movement, that ideology, that time, we are proud of it, that we need to build our nation, to feel proud of our country, Southern Sudan. But it happened during the struggle. There's a kind of confusion that come on, because as I can see as an observer, it's starting from the Khartoum agreement to Rome negotiation talk, and now they're going to Kenya. There's a look like a kind of confusion, because when you're in the NAS, before you break away, you're talking about the root cause, and we don't understand even the root cause. What is the root cause that need to be addressed? Because now people looking to understand exactly what is the intention, what is the movement of the intention of the NAS. As you declare that there's a loss in the middle of the roads, could you a little bit elaborate exactly in this point that you're heading to the negotiation, maybe in Kenya? So are you going to be different than the NAS? Do you have any different mission that you're going to talk, so that people at least can convince that this is really the road that we need to work on it, or need to support it?
Can I say something? Can I respond?
Yes, go ahead. Yeah, respond. Yeah.
Thank you, Brother Limbe. Yes, among the root causes of the problem in South Sudan is actually the governance by itself, the system of governance. This is what many South Sudanese are advocating and talking about, which is actually many of the people of South Sudan are advocating for a federal system of governance, where institutions, federation has to be created, and division of power has to be made, so that there is boundaries between the national and the state government, and so that some of the things like, for instance, at the current situation, almost everything is at the center. People at the state level has little or nothing actually to say. But with the federal system of government, of course, the federation will be controlled at the head, at the center, with the powers vested into the states, so that the states can manage some of the affairs that is solemnly embedded in the territory of that particular state. And that call has not been the call of the National Salvation Front, but it has even been the call. I believe even John Garang, after during we can remember when the peace talks during the SPLA, starting from the Kokodam Declaration in 1986, when the SPLA entered into a negotiation table with the government of the then Sudan, the first thing the SPLM explore first the unity of the people of Sudan based on consensus on and the understanding, and then the acceptance of what system is best for the people. So John Garang during that time came up with the options, among others, the option of confederation. When the problem of United Sudan cannot be agreed upon by the belligerents or the parties to the conflict, then options in negotiation, including confederation, can answer some of the questions. So that idea emanates from the 1947 Juba conference, when the people of South Sudan actually called for federation. And this has been the call, so that when the people of South Sudan get independence and things begin to mess up, the national government cannot now distinguish between the affairs of the state and the national government. And the worst was when a constitution was promulgated, depriving the states from actually exercising their sovereign powers, including the people voting for their governors, for instance, and commissioners at the grassroots. This has become detrimental to the governance crisis, and it has embedded and vested the power of the state into a solemnly individual who is the president. And this is where the problem comes in. You find the individuals who are well connected to the president going to influence the decision making of the leader, of the president, so that the president can just issue decree anyhow, and that has brought up mess up. Beside that is also at the economic point of view. Of course, when there is a federation, of course, there is going to be a division of labor and division of power. And then even the revenue and the management of the resources of the country will also be accounted for, because each of and every state will find where exactly can they find the sources of their revenue to finance the government. So that if those sources of the revenue are established, then the states may have upper hand to contribute and make sure they remit the resources collected to the national government, and then from there, that one will be disbursed from the central bank. Of course, allocation may be done to the state, and there issues of checks and balance can be possibly monitored. So this one was one of the core, and then also the issue of course, the issue of course, unity, the unity of the people. Unity of the people. When there is a federation, of course, everybody may be involved. It will involve everybody in the affairs of the government. People may be drawn from all corners of the country, from all ethnicities, from all regions to participate in the affairs of the country. So that the point of marginalizing other communities. Yes, in democracy, they said the majority have their will, and the minority have their say. But still, in that arrangement, we have seen in other countries where federal system of government serve the interest, even including those the minorities. Somebody cannot claim that he is the majority, so he has the power or the right to oppress the minority. That one cannot work. And it is the same from the point of view of the SPLA. When John Garang was very eloquent and clear enough to say, in the definition of the problem of Sudan, based on the Arab monolithic state philosophy of considering Islamism as and Arabism as the basis of rule, John Garang was clear, telling in governance nobody should claim majority over others, because at the end of the day we are all human beings, and every human being has the right to participate in the affairs of his or her own nation, so that he can deliver whatever he can in his or her own capacity. So the root causes of the problems are many, including the current social fragmentation. When you look at the communities of South Sudan, and to be specific, the issue of insecurity, most of the issues is caused because of this lack of the rule of law or respect for human rights, so that you find other people are moving just lawlessly. Let us take the example of the cattle, for instance, the cattle keepers. South Sudan is not the only country in Africa or in the region that keeps cattle or have people who are keeping cattle. We have Uganda is an example of people who are keeping cattle. But still, the question of cattle has not caused insecurity or communal conflicts. Now, somebody may ask himself, now if Uganda have cattle, Kenya even have cattle, Somalia and India, all these neighboring countries, almost every country in Africa, there are countries who are cattle keepers. People owning cattle, but there are no conflicts related to cattle related conflicts. Now, what is the difference? What is the case with our situation in South Sudan? And that brings in the question the issue of rule of law. We have communities in South Sudan who claim to be more powerful than the government because of disobeying the laws that exist. And because the government, in one way or the other, also is complacent and is not taking measures to hold those individuals accountable, it now results to now the counter move by the aggrieved party or the aggrieved community is now taking the law into his own hand, and then people clash and fighting emerge. And this results to these communal conflicts that is roaming, not only in Equatoria, when we hear in Barakazal, the issue in Rumbek. And I'm happy the current administration in Rumbek has a little bit came up with a strategy to counter and control the behavior of those who actually are behaving lawlessly. But go to Warab. Up to today, the conflicts, when you hear people dying, they twitch and the ngok, the tongue and tongue sauce, you will automatically know that there are communities that are not adhering to the rule of law, and the government is doing nothing about it. So in a situation of this nature, what can we do? Of course, the ultimate purpose of every government is to make sure there is rule, law and order in a society. This is beyond this. There is no any other greater function of a government other than restoring law and order in a society. And this is what, of course, NAS has to look into that. One of the objectives and is one of the root cause of the problem that is existing in South Sudan. And National Salvation is looking to see that we have structures that adhere to the rule of law and to monitor and even hold individuals or communities accountable for their actions. So these are some of the aspects that, and those things cannot be done individually or just by words or decision of an individual. It is something that must be done through legislation in the parliament by a functional parliament, a parliament that really cares, a parliament that is in the interest of the people, is responsible to the people, not only the parliament that cares for their individual interests or benefits. So that one is the difference, and this constitutes part and parcel of the root problem that need to be discussed. So I think up to this, including many more other issues that are there, but this is just a summary of the brief issues that need to be discussed. So I can, for the moment, stop here and give you chance back.
Thank you, Abraham. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Francis. Thank you. Good question. We are about to run out of time. So my next question, Colonel Stephen, is regarding about what happened in Juba last Sunday. Last Sunday, midnight at Juba local time, there was a military barrack store in Giada caught fire, and the ammunition and other weapon in the store blow up. It caused like 8 people lost, wounded, and 1 woman miscarrying, and 1 child was wounded too. On the following day, the NAS of General Thomas Shirilo claimed responsibility of it. They put out the press release saying that the NAS Army leadership would like to inform all the NAS members and the people of South Sudan that on the 24th of February 2024, about 24:00, which is midnight, NAS Special Forces carrying out an operation on the SSPDF Army ammunition store at the old general headquarters at Jirkat in Juba. And also they said that the NAS forces withdrew safety after accomplishing its mission and leave the army in panicking. And the NAS would like to ensure the people of South Sudan that it would not leave any stone unturned to stop the suffering by the oppressive regime of Salva Kiir Mayardit. The leadership of NAS congratulations the gallant of NAS Army Special Forces for this heroic operation against the enemy right into the heart of the capital Juba. NAS remain committed on the peace agreement conflict and then signed by the spokesperson of NAS. So for this press release and their claim, and they came out in Clubhouse on Sunday actually, last Sunday, and they make a claim that they came out not supporters, and they came out and they say that they take full responsibility of what happened. My question to you are you and the NAS RCC also released a press statement, and we read that and we posted in our media that you guys are not. That's the propaganda from the NAS of Tom Chirilo. Okay, so on these issues, can you tell South Sudan, do the NAS of General Thomas Chirilo have capability to sneak in to the secure area called Giada and destroy the store of the government? And do the NAS of Thomas Chirilo, do they have a presence around Juba, leave alone in Juba capital city? Go ahead and answer the question. Thank you.
Before I answer this question, first of all, did you have any connection with this group of Thomas now? Those who still ally themselves with the Thomas, following Thomas?
You said, do I what?
I said, before I answer this question, I would like to know if you had contacted any of these, including the spokesperson of the group that is still aligning himself to Thomas. Have you contacted them for interview, and what is their response?
They deny.
Anything from their side positive or not?
Yeah, they deny. They deny our interview. So they even like before you guys do declaration, next time media reach out to General Thomas Chirilo for interview, and he accept it at the end, and he declined. So they don't accept our interview. They decline it.
Yeah, and that is the denial of the truth. You see, for every truth, always whoever denies to talk, like for media like you, like this, is always denying the truth. Because if you are honest and if you are truthful, whatever comes rain, comes sun, whatever you are going to ask questions, of course you will speak out what you know truly has happened, based on the circumstance or the reality. So going back to the question of that, I think good enough you have read our statement. When that reckless statement came out from the invisible spokesperson of General Thomas Chirilo, the military spokesperson. I call invisible because that is an individual that has never even gone to any military field for training, leave alone the language he used in that press release. So it is very unfortunate that the caliber of General Thomas himself, as a well-trained officer, is just ending up collecting individuals from nowhere to take charge of technical and very, very sensitive positions, like being the spokesperson of a military spokesperson, like the one who have issued that statement. Coming to the reality of the statement, of course, I think even the citizens, the people of South Sudan inside Juba laugh at that statement of General Thomas, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not in Juba, but when that statement came out, people laugh at it because it is the clear exposure of the discrepancies that the group within Thomas Chirilo is deceiving the people of South Sudan all for the last 7 years. We know those individuals; those are self-centered individuals without the heart of the people at the heart, so that if things happen of that nature, they still have the gut to just utter and issue irresponsible and reckless statements as the one they issued on that day. So we came out clearly to respond to that, because we have been from South Sudan. We were in Juba before, and we know the geography of Juba. We know where Giada, the headquarters, the Giada, where that incident happened, is located. We know who are inside, who are those inside Giada, the inhabitants in Giada. We know, so that if any reasonable person who really knows what armed conflict is, and the laws related to armed conflict is, he couldn't dare to execute such a terrific mission and later on claim that they have done so. We knew it was a propaganda, knowing very well that General Thomas and his group are now struggling. They are struggling now with the issue, the point of legitimacy. Because after the declaration we issued dismissing him, General Thomas knew the gravity of the decision we have made, how powerful and influential we were, who made the decision. Because those just issuing those statements are men and women with him in diaspora. The least closer are those within the region here. Others are in Kenya. Most of them are in Uganda, just parading themselves, marauding as revolutionaries. Yet they are dining in the best meals in the cities, not knowing the realities of the circumstances under which the true revolutionary is going through on the ground. So they don't bother, they don't care when they issued such a reckless statement, it has any impact. They don't care. But the truth of the matter is, no responsible human being, no responsible leader can claim a responsibility for what has happened in the midst of his own people. Giada, we know all very well, located in the center of Juba, so that if there is any attack against ammunition, a store, army store like that, you know the proximity of how, if that is a missile store, everybody who knows what military is really can attest to this truth, that you cannot destroy a military facility within the center of the people, because you know Giada is located in Lologo. To the south, to the west of Giada is Jebel Market. To the east is Lologo 1. To the south is Lologo 2, and then to the north is Nyakuron, and then northeast is just at Labara there, that side of Qatar, Abba, you live there. The proximity of the area there is inhabited by the locals, the civil population. Now, if you are a responsible human, really a leader, a responsible leader, how can you blow up ammunition store, which includes missiles, and just because your intention is just to cripple the enemy? Is that really is that a target that NAS can claim can bring to them victory? That one is not, because that any explosion in Giada there even can reach to Bilibam, can reach to even Rajab, can reach to Gudele, fire there, missiles, once it explodes. So any responsible leader cannot claim such. Instead, such is the attributes of the terrorist organizations, terrorist groups can claim that, because for the terrorists, they only care about themselves and their interests, even other than the people. And that is why we knew very well that one is actually, it might be a natural disaster, as has been reported by the SSPDF spokesperson, or whatever might have happened has happened. But for Thomas Group to claim that they did that, if they indeed did it, it is a violation that deserves condemnation, not only from the people of South Sudan, but even the international community. Because as for now, we still, as if they genuinely stand if they genuinely stand for the people of South Sudan and they hold themselves still legitimate group, then what make them not to adhere to the cessation of hostilities signed in 2017 in Addis Ababa and in 2020 in Rome? Because that cessation of hostilities still upholds up to today. It is still upholds, so that nobody has the right to attack the position of the opponent unless you acted on self-defense. And this is the position. The position now is, even ourselves, we have assured our ground forces to hold to their locations and never to move out an inch to attack the enemy unless they are attacked, and then maybe they can respond in self-defense. And this is the position of the cessation of hostilities that they used to claim in any declaration, any statement they issue. They say they respect the position of the cessation of hostilities. Now, if you respect the cessation of hostilities, what makes you then to go and attack, to go and carry out attack on your enemy's locations, which is centered in the midst of the civil population? So that claim there, I would like to tell to the people of South Sudan the irresponsible nature of those allying himself still, or the leadership of General Thomas in particular, and those close to him. These are people who have no interest of the people at heart other than their personal interest. What they are much interested is for them to gain power by all any other means. And that is why they are able to do such malicious and irresponsible, reckless acts, which we condemn it, and we shall condemn it to the core, and we call any reasonable and sound-minded person, including the international community and the region, to condemn that act, because we cannot condone the violation of human rights, whether it is the government or even from our side as the opposition. It is unacceptable to perpetuate human rights violation. So that is the position we are in, but our forces on the ground has never done any. The special forces he's talking of, which is special forces he's talking, is General Thomas and his group talking about. He has not even trained a single officer. For him to train to become a special officer has never happened. Now, I doubt. I was wondering which is special forces. We knew very well even Giada itself by the virtue of its location and the fencing. Who can enter there unknowingly and carry out such a malicious act? So, I would like to say our forces have never done that. Our forces have never done that. Yes. And if Thomas is still is claiming responsibility for that, I would like to say that one is his personal move, which is against the people of South Sudan, and it deserves condemnation from every kind-hearted human beings and he who loves humanity. And such acts should even be treated as a terror, an act of terror, actually. So that is the position of National Revolutionary Command Council as the legitimate body now standing to negotiate peace for the people of South Sudan.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Colonel Stephen. I follow up question regarding, is it the reason why they are doing this propaganda or claim? Is it because the NAS Command Council dismissed General Thomas Chirilo, or what is behind of this propaganda? They are doing this propaganda.
Exactly. That one is one of the reasons I said they are struggling with the legitimacy, the point of legitimacy. General Thomas is still struggling to make himself relevant to the face of the situation in the country and the political landscape, knowing very well that we have already disarmed him. We have disarmed General Thomas and his group. The commanders who are just carrying out all those propagandas within the region are not on the ground, and they even command no single soldier. Even they don't have even their private so-called bodyguards. You can find a senior commander without a bodyguard. So in a situation where you are thrown out, what can you do? You have to create a confusion so that you claim legitimacy. So he is struggling to make himself relevant, so that he wanted to tell to the people of South Sudan that he still exists, and that in military it is considered as a counter strategy. It is actually is a maneuver trying to counter the move we have taken, so that even the government itself can consider that he is still active and has a presence of people who are executing things. And that one will not end there. More will happen, because he will still, given the situation in South Sudan, he will still take advantage of any situation that may happen, whether it is in Barakazal, in Lake State, or Upper Nile, or Jongole, including the communal conflicts. Don't get surprised to see General Thomas claiming responsibility once a communal conflict broke out in Upper Nile or in Barakazal, just for him to show himself that he is still relevant. So this is the situation. But the truth of the matter is, we have disarmed him, we have dismissed him, and we are prepared to sit on the table of negotiation with the government. Given the situation at hand, if need be, we can negotiate. And this will depend on the acceptance and the willingness of the parties to reach any consensus. And this is our position up to now. We are still in that position because we have seen the level of suffering our people are going through. The people of South Sudan does not deserve the suffering they are going through now. And it is up to now the warring parties to come to their senses, including the government, to realize that the current situation in South Sudan does not need any more delayment in finding amicable solutions, so that people restore the life of our people, but including those who are suffering in the neighboring countries, for the country to recover from the abysses of conflict and the trauma of war. So this is the position we are in now. But any claim of that nature, we condemn it. We condemn it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Colonel Stephen. I have two more questions so that we can, and then before I let you go. My last, my next question is regarding about your group. You are saying that you guys are joining a peace negotiation in Nairobi, Kenya. What is the what are the latest development between your group and the group of Soma that who signed the peace negotiation with the government in Rome? Have your team have you talked to Nairobi, to Kenyan government, like President William Ruto, or have you contact the Rome team that were doing a peace negotiation? And also, did the government of South Sudan contact your group? And also, did you guys accepted in this peace negotiation in Nairobi, Kenya? Thanks very much.
Thank you for that point. Yes, as per our declaration in the first place, we acknowledge and welcome the decision taken by the government of Kenya in the quest for lasting peace for the people of South Sudan. And we welcome that position of President William Ruto to accept the mediation. And it is in the interest of, and actually, you see, when we read the acceptance letter by President Ruto, and also getting informed, coupling with the current affairs in the continent of Africa, and the policy, the general policy within the African Union framework for peace and security in the continent, we acknowledge it because time and again, some of the leaders in Africa, or whether they are in opposition or in the government, think that the problem to Africa can best be discussed and resolved by the outsiders or outside Africa. So when William Ruto took that move to accept the mediation, of course, mediation is a mediation. It is a give and take. It is a win-win situation. You never know the outcome. You will agree or disagree, but it is all together a mediation. Knowing very well in conflict resolution, he who mediates conflict has no power to impose or take side. And it is from that confidence that we give credit to the Kenyan government, because we believe any initiative for peace talks here will not warrant their siding with as a party to the conflict, be it the government, for reasons people know. So when that thing came out and the other parties, I remember you interview General Pagan Amum once in this show, and you understood the position of Real SPLM and Pagan Amum as the chairman in relation to the proposal of shifting the talks to Nairobi. I also remember you have been following the moves by SSUF of General Paul Malong and his position. So the two parties who are members of SOMA seems to be positive to the move, with the exception of only National Salvation Front, and to be exact, particularly General Thomas, who was not clear. You might have read their position paper issued by NAS, giving conditions and reservations. So when we all see that, it really proves the inability of NAS leadership under General Thomas Cirillo to handle both diplomatic and the political direction under which this movement is supposed to be. Because if it is not the African states that we should really engage to cooperate and relate with, which other country else can help us more than any African state here? Because when it comes to jurisdiction proximity, any support, before we seek for support from Europe or from America, we must have the support from within. We must have the support from within, and we must have the trust from within our continent. We are Africans, and we can solve our problem as Africans depending on the approach we shall solve it, and we can still reach a conclusion. And it coincides with the African Union policy of solving African problems using African solutions. So we really commend the government of Kenya, and since that acceptance, of course, in our declaration, after the declaration, we wrote a letter to the president of Kenya, acknowledging that position, acknowledging the position he has taken to host the talks, and then also, of course, the government of South Sudan is the party to the negotiation and is the prime party, because all these talks in Nairobi is emanating as a result of the president's willingness to come on table, given the prevailing circumstances back in the country, the level of devastation and the suffering people are going through has warranted and given the president and the government no option other than accepting to negotiate with every South Sudanese to come on table so that we together find amicable solution to restore normalcy back in the country. Else South Sudan in the nearest future is going to head to something different that nobody wanted to see from its current situation. So we have engaged the government of Kenya, and up to now we are still engaging, and our engagement is not in the kind that we are just maybe just forcing ourselves in or begging to be in the negotiation. No, it is our will to see that upon coming on negotiation table, together we can resolve the matters, the issues that the people are going through. So there were positive. There are stages we have reached, which I cannot disclose here because was not mandated to disclose in interviews such as this. But I would like to assure you that the position we have taken is really taking positive trend, and hopefully we shall be at the table of negotiation if that time comes with the opponents. including the other parties. Of course, we are already a party to the conflict. As to whether what will come up, because there are issues, there are things we are now hearing. We are hearing, it seems like Thomas is cornered, and because he's cornered, he is somehow, somewhere struggling to make himself prevail somewhere. But that is not something I have to say. It is up to them whether it is through the pursuit to join the talks when the time comes. That is not something I have to say. It is them to say, and we shall see that when that time comes, if they will come on the table. And if they will come, then it is now the mediators to see what to do with them. What to do with them, because our position is clear. And if he will be taken in the other way around, considering his presence last time in Rome in the talks, that is also something I cannot say anything about it. But to assure the parties to the negotiation and even the mediator for any fruitful and tangible negotiation, those who are carrying the guns have the power to make the peace successful or not. And this is our position. If we can be on the negotiation table, is well and good. If we cannot also be on the negotiation table, the good thing, we are not in Juba. We are not in Juba. And then, of course, we shall see what does it mean, and who is on the path to that move. Is it the government rejecting to be with us on that table, or where is the problem? Then upon identifying the loophole, then it is from there that we shall go on with the next move or the next decision. But as for now, I'm 100% or 95% sure that we shall be part and parcel in the negotiation process based on our engagement with the mediator, who is none other than the government of Kenya. There are steps we have taken, and as I said, it is not. I was not mandated to say it in this interview, but time will come when I will be free to say that step as per the decision of the leadership of the National Revolutionary Command Council. But all in all, we are going at the positive direction. We are going at the positive direction. And I wanted to assure that we are for peace and we shall be for peace if that time when the negotiation comes, based on the move you are going through now.
Thank you so much, Stephen. My last question regarding our last interview. You and your colleague mentioned that every statement that you guys wrote, the papers, document, you guys can forward. You can send the copies to General Pagana Mom and Paul Malongawan. For that interview, I received a complaint from General Pagan, and he said that he did not receive any kind of document from your team. And also to his, if this is true, can you clarify what you mean by that time when you said that you sent the copies to General Pagan and General Paul Malong? If there's no document, have not forwarded to Pagan and to Paul Malong, will you apologize to them, or just go ahead and explain you guys?
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. I think we contacted General Malong and his party. Actually, SAF when that incident, when we declare, we came out with that declaration, and you remember there was a document we issued, though we have not made that document public, but of course it was a document showing our commitment in any future talks, as has been announced and accepted by President William Ruto. So we came out with a statement acknowledging that, and also writing to SUB. We wrote to SUB accepting any future negotiation in any talks. So we serve Malong, and we also serve even we presented a copy to the government and a copy to Malong, and it was unfortunate that when you interview us, we have not yet delivered the copy that could have been sent to Zerol Pagan Amum as the leader of SUB. I mean, not of SUB, rather of SPLM, real SPLM. But later on, we came, because by that time we were actually not connected with him. We were looking to get connected to him. So when we later on found him, yes, he lodged that complaint, and he really he complained, and that we, in the interview you conducted with us, we mentioned him and accused him for having sent a copy. Yes, we did not send him the copy before the time you interview us, but after that we served him, and in the due process of communicating to him, we plead with him. We plead with him, and we actually apologize to him for having mentioned it before he got the copy of the letter. So it is true. He feel aggrieved for having been mentioned before he received the official message that we intend to deliver to him. But at the end of the day, we managed to get him, and we discussed some issues pertaining to the decision we have taken. Although we have not discussed in details given the time, but later on we pleaded with him. We pleaded with him for having mentioned him before he got the message of the message that we last time mentioned. We sub him. But as for sub, of course, we also look for them, and we sub them with their copy, the same way we sub the government with that copy. All we did this, of course, in the interest of peace. In the interest of peace, and because if the negotiation is going to begin and to materialize, of course, we must acquaint ourselves with the parties involved in the negotiation process, so that if there are issues to be shared, issues to be discussed, then it is normal. It is normal to discuss and share and reach a consensus where necessary, because as a party to the conflict, should there be a negotiation, we shall be on the same side together as the opposition, and bias the government on the other side, and this is what actually happened. And if on behalf of NAS Revolutionary Command Council, we still like to say we pleaded with the Pagan for having mentioned that statement before we serve him with the document, and this is our position up to now, so that he just feel our pleading with him is genuine and legitimate.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Colonel Stephen, will be your honors. And I hope General Pagana Mom listening right now, and and you already contact. I hope we cleared the air about that, and I hope he will accept your apology. So meanwhile, we come to conclusion. Before I let you go, let me give this final remark to Mr. Francis to put in his last word, and if you have a follow-up question, he can do so. Go ahead, Francis. Mute yourself, Francis.
Hello? Yes?
Yes,
Can you
we
hear
can
me?
hear you.
Yes. Thank you for the opportunity you give to me the second time. I just want to talk on the humanitarian part. Maybe my question will go to you as Stephen and your group, and even all the opposition party, and even for the government. I'm an advocate of peace and humanitarian development. So I was touring some other part of the Southern Sudan, even the neighboring country. And I have seen the suffering of the people and the neighboring in the refugee camps. And the people really, they yearn for peace. So they have 38 years outside the country. Some even they didn't see their lands, and they hope to go back to their homelands in order to start a normal life, in order to restore the loss of the life and the education that they're missing, especially for their kids, for their children. So last month or few months, McQuay talked about the repatriations of the refugee from the neighboring country to the homeland. So, and those repatriation, it will affect especially the capital, which is the Juba or the Juba County. So, and this will create another crisis in regard to the land and the demarcation and all this process that will squeeze the portion of the community of Juba. So, in your capacity, if they allowed you to be on the round tables, this is going to be one of the agenda that to discuss the repatriation process and the effect that's going to affect the Juba County.
Yes, repatriation of the internally displaced people from their communities who are residing in Juba, or you mean those in diaspora?
In the diaspora, we have 2 million in Uganda alone, leave alone Ethiopia, leave alone Khartoum. So those people, when you talk about repatriation, which means that there's some other agency, stakeholders going to be involved and to bring those people to Southern Sudan. And we know Juba is the safe area. So which means that all of them is going to come to Juba and it's going to affect the piece of the land that the Juba County has. And this will create another crisis. So what is the mechanism that you're going to agree with the government or try to talk with the government, some other party, to talk on these things? Because these things became the problem for the insecurity in the whole Juba.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Abraham, can I go on?
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Francis, for your a legitimate and eloquent question. I think and what you raised actually is one of the motivating reasons as to why the government and the opposition leaders of South Sudan has to come to talk on table, because honestly, you have been, as you said, you have been to South Sudan, you have moved, you have seen the situation of how the ordinary people of South Sudan, both those inside the country and those in the neighboring countries, the challenges related to humanitarian situation, actually, how the lives of our people, more especially those in the refugee camps, and not only the refugee camps, but those inside the country are going through, given the current economic crisis in the country. Of course, should any negotiation materialize, the first thing to put on top is the question of the restoration of security, peace and security in all the areas and the community of South Sudan, so that if any agreement can be reached with that in consideration, then the people of South Sudan has to be relocated. Those in the neighboring countries have to be relocated. And once that relocation or repatriation is started, it shouldn't necessarily mean the relocation or the repatriation of people from wherever they are, be them in the refugee camps, just directly to the cities or into the urban areas. These people, most of them came from the rural areas as a result of the conflict that devastated their rural communities. So the best any agreement that may reach can be reached upon, and any permission of the government that may be as a result of the agreement has to emphasize first on repatriation of these people to their localities, to their villages, wherever they come from. Wherever they come from, be it from Upper Nile, Barakazal, as long as there is peace and security, there is safety in their localities, there will not be any reason for anyone to go to his or her locality. To minimize or to avoid the issues associated with the land scarcity in the cities, like for the case of Juba. Juba become the center of the social problems in all aspects, because the war and the conflict has made people, those who are not able to go outside the country to the neighboring countries, has to find refuge in the cities, even though life in the cities is very harsh with no any economic activity, any income generating activity. People have to languish in the cities, and that is the reason so many of the crimes are happening, including land grabbing. Some of the people has resorted to the land grabbing as a life, as a way of living, because you have to grab land by force and then you sell it out in exchange for material or for money to sustain life. And this has caused not only the people from the distant communities, even the localities, the people themselves who own the land. Many, if you can, of course, I'm from Juba, and I know our communities, and I'm following the situation, although I'm not there, but I know some of the circumstances leading to the question of land problem is even the local communities themselves, given the economic challenges and the cost of living. Then people ended up, even the owners of the land, even become also land grabbers by themselves. These are the facts that cannot be denied. So that you sustain living, you have to get part and parcel of your land, and then you give to somebody who is able to give you something to sustain life. So these are all as a result of conflict-related issues. But if there is peace and security, all those people, those including the communities around Juba, be them even the people of Juba County, they have their communities. When there is peace and security and there is law and order in the communities where they come from, then they have to go back and now begin to resettle and rebuild their lives through agricultural activities. And in that way, they can even be able to protect their land so that somebody can be known. Today, if somebody is coming to occupy a certain piece of land, you may know who is that person and who brought him or her there and why is he there. And if he is coming, like you had been following yesterday, I saw over the news, the commissioner of Juba was able to apprehend over 40 criminals who just voluntarily went to forcefully occupy a village. There's a village in Jebel Ladu called Molobur. They just forcefully occupy that and begin demarcating by force. But because the people of that community, of the area, has not given those people the green light, they report, and the government has to come to intervene. So if there is law and order, all these cases of land grabbing and then the land related conflicts will all come to an end, because everybody will have the opportunity to go to his or her own cradle land, to his grandfather's land, and do whatever he can for life sustainability. And even the regulation of the land within the city can be possible and easy by the government, because those who will be in the cities will be people who are either government employees or people who are working with the humanitarian agencies, and they will of course know how to find means of getting habitat to stay in the cities. And meanwhile, the rest of the people, those who have nothing to do, would have already been resettled to their cradle land. What is preventing people at the moment to go back to their community is the issue of insecurity, because the country is at war, and it is difficult for people to go back to their local communities in the fear of the insecurity that may arise from there. So, and that is what we look at, attaching to the importance of this peace. If the country is to really become peaceful, so many and other things, some of these things will just die automatically and solve itself. And then the law will, yes, there are cases where now, up to now, there are a lot of registered issues of land grabbing. But where, as I said before, even in a situation where another government will come in next time, other than Kir, or even if Kir is the one and the government is transformed into the government that respects rule and law, of course, all those who grab land without the legal process will give all this land to the rightful owners. This is going to be the pursuit of the law, and it will be in a situation where there is rule of law and respect for the right of others. When that time comes, all these conflict-related issues will be resolved. So, but as for now, is we have to see the best option of how we can restore peace and security in the whole country before we handle some of these issues that are caused as a result of conflict-associated or related factors.
Thank you so much, Colonel Stephen and Mr. Francis. From this, Isaac, can you come up and give 2 to 3 people in Clubhouse a question each? I will open a hand raise, and I need 2 to 3 people, and each of you can have only 1 question. And if your question will be not relevant, I will not allow it. So I open the hand raise, 2 to 3 people, please. Raise your hand, and Isaac will come up. Isaac, I will mute yourself. I will mute myself, and then go ahead with people in Clubhouse. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Abram. Yep, people who, yeah, Tontad is here. Okay, Tontad and Uncle Ladu. Let's begin with you, Tontad. Open your mic and ask your 1 question to General Stephen Lokaja.
Thank you, Uncle Rock or the Rock, Madin Majak and Lake State Media at large. Connected. And Stephen Ladu, and all our people that are listening here and those who are listening on Facebook. Yes, the question that I would love to ask Stephen Ladu is that he said that Thomas Cirillo is leading the movement while he's abroad, in London somewhere, and he's not taking care of his soldiers, and he's not really being a leader that can be on the ground with his comrades that are fighting in front line. That was the reason he said that Thomas Cirillo is not an effective leader, and he left him to join the government for peace. Stephen Ladu, if you now get another leader that can be on the ground with you, commanding the soldiers of NAS, and not being in abroad, would you again defect and join him or not? Thank you. That's my question.
Okay, thank you so much, Gerald Tontad. Okay, I think Gerald Stephen, if you can just write down the questions and you answer them once at the same time, will be all right, in case some question might be relevant. To keep
that
it
question was not clear. You said I joined, that we join who again?
No, the question is,
Uh-huh.
your claim as General Thomas Cirillo is commanding NAS outside the country or is not within the movement. So if somebody come up and stay with the forces within the South Sudan on the ground, will you defect and join that person? That is the question from Tontat. We move to Uncle Lado. Lado Fadal, your one question to Stephen, please.
شكرا. أنا بشكرك ولا
شبكة بتاعك بطل Uncle Lado أنا ما أعرف في شك شوية. Wasn't well, okay, go ahead.
بس كده طلع ورا.
جربوا تاني.
Okay.
Adyang did Fadal. You have one question as well.
كده Hello,
yes.
كده ماني كويس.
I can't بيجي بقطع لكن go ahead.
Yeah, المهم سؤال يكون بسيط إنه المكان ستيفن بيعرف في سياق إنه لسه قام وقعوا في 2018 بين المعارضة بقيادة بتاريخ مشار السلام ده وقعوا بين الحكومة والمعارضة. جنرال لو عنده كبرة إنه أو عنده فكرة إنه السلام ده وقعوا وما الحكومة ما نفذوا فيه. وجنرال اليوم بيجي إنه هو داير يدمر للسلام في جنوب السودان. هو كعسكري متمرد لابد في السلام. هذا السلام بتاعه ده هينفذوه لأن أخواننا في معارضة داخل جوا هناك ما نفذوا السلام بتاعه. دمان شنو يا ستيفن أنت تتوقع إنه الحكومة هينفذ السلام بتاعه؟ شكرا جزيلا.
Kalam Jabil. Stephen, that is the question from Lado. I think you heard it. Samani, Stephen. Okay. And Nafilatu le adyang did well there tajobal soaltende gabal namshi gidam.
شكرا. اول جول القبل اسال سؤال الاول ده انا ما اعرف ده منو.
Tontat. It's called Tontat.
توماس بارك قاعد عملوا كمان بارك يعني هل كان في زول جاي على بي كمان on the ground انا بين defect no I don't know this guy maybe he have not read our declaration statement. That is why he might have not been informed or acquainted with actually what transpired and what is going on. But I would like to tell my brother that there is no reason for me to defect to somebody who may come on the ground and command when I'm already on the ground. When I'm already on the ground, I'm already commanding on the ground. So instead, if anyone will come or maybe trying to resist or rebel against the government, when we have not yet reached any agreement, we are still in the bushes, then I may welcome him to come and join me. But as for now, there is no reason for me to defect because I have not defected anywhere. I'm on the ground, and the response to come and participate in the talks, it's a legitimate response because principally actually, in our objectives as National Salvation Front, one of the way to find peace for the people is through negotiation. So if there is a table of negotiation where there's a space for us to sit and discuss, that is the reason we have actually dismissed the leader, because he is inconsistent to what he is saying or what the principle of the movement is saying and what he does. So there's no reason for me to defect to join somebody who will come on in the bush and command, because I'm already in the bush. I'm already in the bush. We are already in the bush, and we shall negotiate with the government still, because we are not in Juba. Oh, we are not any near to the government that the government may maybe just conspire to do anything to harm us. Or if we are harmed, like for instance, if me personally, if I'm harmed, I'm part of the movement, and those who are there will continue. Of course, if anything happened to me as an individual, the movement is not me. The movement is the people under our command. Yeah. So there is no reason for me to defect, because we are already in charge of the affairs, and we are NAS Revolutionary Command Council on the ground, and we command the forces, and there's nowhere we can defect. Whoever comes, either will join us, or if he feel like to ally with us, we are also ready to enter any alliance. So this is in response to that question. The second question here is, will that peace be implemented? And this is this is just I would like to say this. This is just a frustrative way of thought in the mind of somebody who have seen something happen and has never materialized, and he believes that once another one happened, it will not. I would like to assure this brother who said, in case we enter into negotiation and agreement with the government, will that peace be implemented? Now that the government have a peace that was signed by with the group of IO and other parties since 2018, and up to now that is not being implemented. We know the challenges. We know the challenges to do with the implementation of peace in our country, given the interest in the hearts of individual leaders and groups that constitute that agreement. But when people come on table to negotiate, the outcome of that negotiation will depend on the acceptance of the presentation of the issues. When we say we are coming for peace talks, it doesn't necessarily mean that giving in. We are coming and just to come today on the table and say, yes, we greet each other with the government and say, yeah, you are welcome, we are South Sudanese, and let us go home. No, there are issues that we can put on the table and people has to discuss, including that peace agreement that is not implemented itself. We know of that. But what is the last option to do? Just to keep the people of South Sudan hostage? Is there no any other means, any alternative that we can envision or we can look at to see, giving the examples of the past as a ground to justify anything that people can enter into? Because if we think that upon entering any agreement with the government, that agreement will not be implemented, then we are just holding this country hostage, and we are holding the people of South Sudan hostage. So here, I don't see any reason that if there is a will to come on negotiation table, the current government is coming as a whole. It is not IO or government or IG or SPLM IO, IG and others. They are coming as a government, and they know their weaknesses. They know the factors leading to the lack of the implementation of the current peace. And we can even use that as an opportunity also, because the guarantors and the mediators has to be appointed if they really mean finding solution to the problem of South Sudan. And then that agreement should be used as a references for any agreement that people will reach into, so that people cannot repeat the same thing time and again and expect different results. So I would like to say any agreement that people can reach into with the government will be also dictated by the failures of the implementation of the current peace. So that when agreement can be reached to, people must know the cons and the pros of the next peace agreement that people will enter into. So I would like to say, let us not be pessimistic, but let us be optimistic that together, as South Sudanese, we can look for all avenues to see that we really reach a consensus, and upon reaching a consensus, we can implement what we all agree without condition for the sake of the country, South Sudan, and for the sake of the people. Because if we say we cannot sit on the table to negotiate and the problem persists, then we are in danger of disintegrating this country, or even completely all of us wiping ourselves out, and foreigners will come and take over this country. This is my observation, and with this hope, I don't have the reservation that coming for table talks should be just limited because another agreement was signed and it has not been implemented. We all know, and we are new to the situation on the ground in South Sudan. And thank you very much.
All right, thank you, General Stephen Lokaja. Still, we have 3 more questions from 3 people. I think they can go ahead at the same time and you note their question down. We start with
yes. For the sake of time and the interest of time, let them be precise because I also have some commitment to go for. Let them be very precise and brief because I'm also time back.
Thank you. It's all right. General Adiang, be precise and go quick to your question. And then Francis, get ready, and Madam Helena also get ready to follow Francis at the same routine. Adiang Fadal, welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Well, I'm not getting anything.
Hello, anybody hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you. Go ahead, repeat your question.
I said to General Ladu that are you guys ready for the peace in Nairobi? Peace was in Italy and then prepared to Nairobi. And some opposition, they are scared to go there. For what reason? I don't know. But that's okay. The other thing is like, okay, you guys want South Sudan to be like what do you call like a tool? Is that what you're looking for? I don't like it. I don't think so. I don't appreciate such a business. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Let's move straight to Francis. Francis Fadal.
Excuse us, Jack. If you can repeat that question, I did not speak him properly. If you have the question clearly with you, let me know. What have you said?
The question is that are you guys ready? Are you ready for the peace talk that refer to Nairobi? The one that used to be in Italy and then is now in Nairobi. Are you ready to attend that? Isn't it, Diang? Is that the question?
Yes. The question I said, the question I said, are you guys ready to go to Nairobi, or opposition, all of you? Or you guys want us to be like Khartoum, which is North Sudan, now there's no leader. Is that what they're looking for, this opposition? That's my question.
Yep. All right. Gerald Stephen is asking, some of the opposition are afraid to attend the Nairobi peace negotiation. Are you ready to attend? Like other people, they prepare going to Khartoum or Sudan or other parts for the security reason. I think that's what he is talking about.
Let the other person ask the question. Let them ask the question. I'm just putting down so that I answer at once.
All right, Francis, further.
يا شكرا جزيلا اخوي مديد. اولا نقدر نحيي الناس المشاهدين الموجودين في الفورم هنا، وبندرج نحيي الناس المستمعين. السؤال بداية الأول أنا بقول لأخوي ستيفن يعني
بن مديد ممكن تعمل ميوت روك أمر روك.
Lay, I'm connecting.
all right, let it be like that, yeah. Just I have one question to, I have like two questions to my brother, another private Stephen. Lano, Nina Afenino, you've been dismissed from the rank and the file of National Salvation Front, and later on you declared your movement after your dismissal. Why you didn't dismiss General Thomas Cirillo in the beginning, and you come with a declaration after you've been dismissed from National Salvation Front? This is question number one. So question number two, when you declared your statement, the first thing that you just came to declare it in the South Sudan Eagle media, and we all know that South Sudan Eagle media is affiliated with the government. Why you didn't go and declare in some kind of media like the Voice of the People, or maybe other forums like Uchan, who's really who feel that is opposing the government? Number three, why you didn't join your brothers who really went with the national security in Juba and declared in Juba? Why you still barging around in social media here? We know that you're just like hanging around in some areas in Uganda there, in your own room, and you're really working, disturbing another, the really fighters who really want to liberate the land, liberate the people, and you all know that the people is still, they are being raped, they are being killed. The South Sudan people, the Force, they are really pushing the people out of their villages. What did you achieve to put your hand with Kiev? I will just stop here. Thank you.
Okay. The third person and the final, for the sake of the time, Helena.
That guy has been too low in his asking the question. Some of his things, if you can just briefly go through, just in summary.
Wait, Helena, let me just repeat the question of Francis to General Stephen. Stephen, Francis is accusing the Lagos state media that is lying with the government. Why do you choose to come and just pass your regulation, or you attend this media to come and express your intention or hosting of General Thomas Cirillo, and you didn't go to other medias that hosted by people he has mentioned, like John Oshang, and also
real opposition to the government.
Who is the real opposition of government? Lagos state media is not belong to
the Voice.
Okay, yes, the Voice of real SPLM, and there are other medias. Why do you come here and didn't attend, go to the other medias? That's what he said.
Okay.
All right, and then let's move to the last person. Helena, further.
I think if you give him a chance to answer, that would be much better.
He is running out of time. That is the reason we need to squeeze these things up quickly. Otherwise, it is up to him. He has requested to jot down all the questions and then answer them at once, and that's the final show.
Okay, thank you. My question is going to be a very short question. It's like 2 or 3 questions. General Stephens, we hear your speech interview here on South Sudan Eagle Media. Thank you for accepting the interview. Number one. Number two, my first question. What make you to make decision to defect it from NAS, who General Thomas Cirillo, is because you guys disagree not even to attend the peace talk in Kenya, or because of South Sudan people, or citizens of South Sudan people are very suffered for very long. You defected or joined the government because of suffering of our people, or because you got disagree, Thomas Shirito refused and denied not even to join the hand for the peace talk in Kenya. That is my second question. My last question to you: are you part of the people who call themselves as separatists? Are you aware about that? Because we are really so confused about South Sudan citizens. We have so-called separatists, Equatorian separatists, and Thomas Shirilo don't want to even clear herself. He's supporting and who is the head of separatists. Are you part of this so-called separatists of South Sudan? Because we have two groups right now. We have NAS group that call themselves a NAS. They're kind of fighting with the government for their interest, but we with the kind of say is the interest of South Sudan. But we know the behind of that NAS group. Are you aware about separatist group within the country, Equatorial region, because they're claiming themselves they need to be separate out from South Sudan? Or who is the head of the, because we're trying to know who is the head of separatist group. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Before General Stephen answered, I need to clear one thing to you, Sister Helena. General Stephen has not defected to the government. They have hosted Thomas Shirilo. They took the leadership. They call themselves NAS Revolutionary Council, and they are still fighting the government. They haven't defected to government at all. So they are still in the bush. I have to put that one clear. Now, General Stephen.
You meant that they disowned Thomas Chirilo from the movement?
Yes, they took powers from Thomas. Yes,
right now?
yes, they are still in the bush. Yes.
Oh, so now the NAS defect, like they have one remain in the bush and one already joined the government, right?
Yes, that's right. Those who have joined the government already, they are there. But there are the team who formed this council, and they kick out Thomas Shirilo from the leadership. They said that he's not on the ground with us. These are the things he has already explained long time ago for those who came late in his interview. He has expressed it, and they put the out. So thank you so much. Stephen, you can answer the questions, and we close.
No, sorry, Marid. Sorry, Marid. So my question was useless then. My question was useless.
No, it's
so
okay.
Now, yeah, can he take one now by saying that how effective is Thomas Chirilo now with the remain behind forces with him? Yeah, let him add that. How effective is Thomas Chirilo now with the remain forces with him? Thank you.
Yeah, Jama, Anama is Francis. I don't. As Francis, close your mic. The question is not between. I think the discussion is not between you alone, guys. Nizam, please. We're running out of time here. Let this guy finish the questions.
This is the people. Private Stephen who ثلاثة نفر ولا 4 نفر هم كان 7.
Yeah, Francis, please, Francis.
3 منهم مش جوبا بقى بيس الموجود.
I did meet him. Yeah, great. Thank you.
All right, go ahead, Stephen.
Thank you, Lex Media. I think first of all, I would like to begin by the first person who asked if we are ready to go for the Nairobi talks, since other opposition parties have reservation over security issues. I think this person who asked this question came late. I have discussed this point before, But in brief, I would like to say this. I would like to say this. You
Sorry.
see,
Repeat
you see,
the question, please.
Yes,
Answer
I would like to say this. You see, this mentality of some of our leaders and brothers who in one way or the other has found safe haven or a place to stay in comfortably in the neighboring or countries or outside the continent of Africa, and just beating the drum of war there, that they are fighting for the suffering people of South Sudan, to me, is really, it is a deception of the highest order. So that if people talk of peace in real sense, peace for the people of South Sudan, peace negotiated outside South Sudan, be it Nairobi or anywhere, it is a negotiation between the parties. Now, what bring in the issue of security? What bring in the issue of security? As long as the party or the mediator has taken upon himself and willingly accepted. Of course, it is any mediator in any peace process is governed by the rules and regulations for engagement on matters to do with the negotiation, including the norms and the laws of the international law of how a mediator is supposed to be. So taking things just in a layman way by considering a country like the Republic of Kenya as a security threat, when they have legitimately accepted, by accepting to take the role of mediation, by itself is a solemn vow. It's a solemn vow that they are taking responsibility, including the security of the parties who are coming for that talks. So there is no reason whatsoever to accuse a country, an independent state, a sovereign state, who have just voluntarily taken upon itself to really help in a situation where there is suffering, just to be labeled as a security risk destination. So it is very unfortunate words, and it doesn't really go rhyme with the principles and the norms of any revolutionary, because issues to do with the life or death when you are a revolutionary is something that should not be the core or the focal point of consideration. So I'm saying, like we are in the country there, in the countryside, confronting each other, and even crossing borders in one way or the other. If that come my way, I will still die on the ground. And if the neighboring country that call to mediate the peace also has taken upon itself to really to just lure you and maybe just take away or just hand you over, and then you are the individual who is coming to represent the talks here. But the people for whom you are fighting are holding their ground down there. Meaning, if anything happened to the leader or the person who is coming to negotiate on behalf of the people, I think it will not mark the end of the struggle, because the people down there will still fight back. So there is no legitimate reason here to put that claim as the ground to fear coming to negotiate, unless there is any other reason other than that. So I don't take that as a serious matter, and for this reason, we are prepared to attend to the talks wherever it is, as long as we are going to discuss with the opponent or the enemy on pertinent issues that can bring peace and security back into our country. So that is the position of NAS Revolutionary Command Council. They are prepared to engage the enemy in talks, because our past ultimatum, our past step towards restoration of peace is through negotiation. We are ready to negotiate peace with the enemy, wherever it is, other than South Sudan or Juba itself. That is our position. Number two, the reasons for the dismissal of General Thomas. I think I can refer this person to the declaration. If anyone can share that declaration with him to acquaint himself with the reasons there, and I think he will get much satisfied there. Most of the things are internal weaknesses that are attributed to his leadership. Although the issue of the talks become one of the let me say it is something that came just a supplementary because it came at the latest hour. But internally, there was internal problem within us that General Thomas was not able to address, and that warranted the decision that the Command Council took. So the details of that is referred to the the declaration statement. And then on the issue of talking to Lake Media, why I choose talking, I would like to just remind and just say I'm sorry, the guy who asked this question did not know and did not even contact us. I don't know which side he belongs, but I would like to say even before getting interviewed by this media, I used to see and hear, but I don't know anyone in this media house, whether by friendship or by relation. I don't know any one of them. But what I know, it is a media house, and after our declaration, they got that declaration and they feel interest, because for any media house, what I know in the principle and in the ethics of those who are well versed in journalism, journalists are always non-partisan. They take whatever comes their way and get into details to know what happened. So I wish this guy who just accused us for having sided with this Lake Media to could have come openly if they are managing another media house, or to could have informed any other media house that is he knows better to contact us, and we still remain open up to now. Even if tomorrow, if he truly mean what he says, he should connect us to that media house that he thinks is neutral to interview us and also to get our opinion, because what we said here is our position, and we shall say the same to whoever will come to interview us, whether is a BBC or CNN or which other media house. But the last time I checked, I checked is media houses are always non-partisan and they are always neutral. So if there is a media house that they know that it is partisan and should have talked on behalf of another organization, I'm sorry, I don't know them, and but I welcome them if they wanted to talk to us. We are open 24 hours to listen to them, to be interviewed by them, to get the version of our story. Because I will not take that that accusation easily, because I don't know anyone in Lake State Media, and I don't know whether they belongs to the government or to the opposition or to whichever party. That is none of my business. But my business here is to disseminate the information. What they ask me to say, I'm saying what our position is as a matter of a policy in our document and in our policy framework. So I have nothing to do with the media belonging to which party or which. That is none of my business, and I'm here for that. Then coming to disagree with General Thomas of joining peace. There somebody asked this. Yes, that one is one of the things that of late came. Yes, because honestly, the principle, the every statement, those you have been following our statement. In every statement, our principle is, our core principle in seeking for peace is through peaceful dialogue with the government. Now, if there is a room to dialogue with that government, and later on, the leadership or those in the decision making come up with a counter information that they don't want to come for that talks, then that one is by itself a deception, and it is a lack of commitment. So that, in another way around, is one of the attributing factor to the event that occurred. But mostly the reasons based in the disagreement with the Thomas are internal in the administration and the management of National Salvation Front. I don't want to elaborate details of all those things because some of them were already in the declaration statement, and others are there which I have no time to elaborate, but time will come if need be. If the likes of those who think what we are doing is really in favor of the other side, if they wanted us to come and really articulate, by the way, we have the information, the full information, even when it is on the ground, politically and security-wise, we have the internal reasons to justify the decision we have taken. But some of them, we don't want just to talk it time and again because it shouldn't be. But with the time, if need be, time will come for that. On the point of the separatists, again, this rejoinder, I think, joined us lately. I think I have articulated something in relation to the current situation in South Sudan. And if something is not done about it, what will be the fate of this country in the next, let me 2 to 3 or 5 years? What will be the fate of South Sudan in the next these years, if something is not done about it? And to do something about it is to understand what is the problem. What exactly is the problem? And upon definition of that problem, the people of South Sudan themselves know where the problem really lies. The ordinary people, leave alone the politicians, or we who are talking on behalf of these people. The people knows exactly where the problem is. And to much extent, the problem that is there is exaggerated by the interests of individuals who wanted to find themselves a space or a place in the arena of leadership by hook and crooks. To be precise on the point of separatists, I'm one among many who will not accept, I will never up to tomorrow accept that we have to define the problem of South Sudan based on a regional or separate point of view. Because if we allow this to happen, yes, we may separate. And now, to whom shall we leave this South Sudan? To whom shall South Sudan belong? If the Equatorians say, okay, they are moving out, then to whom shall South Sudan belong? The foundation under which this country was found has never been on the basis of discrimination as to this belong to this, this belong to this. People have paid ultimate and equal sacrifices. The lives of people lost are equally attributed to all the region and the communities of South Sudan, so that nobody should come all of a sudden to come and say, I have to move away from this house because this house belongs to so and so. As if yesterday you have not contributed in building this house. So this concept of separatism is not will never be sustainable and will never be the solution to the problem we have, because those who are beating that drum of separation is still, once Equatorial even separate, they will continue with that beating that drum. And where will people go? Meaning it will take the country to a basis of just communal sections, to the extent that people will form states or a country based on tribes, which is unacceptable. Nobody, even in his right sense, will accept that. Neither even the international community, nor even the region. Country Africa at the moment even does not and will never accept to see the disintegration of any state. So these separatists are just people who does not know the reality on the ground. They don't have humanity at heart. They don't know how the people of South Sudan are suffering, regardless of their ethnicities. They just look at the individuals, the few who are at the center of decision making and at the center of power. So, for example, when we say the current government, others are having the claim that this government belongs to the Dinka. The fact that the Dinka are the majority, yes, some people, the native people can say that, but go down deep to the localities where even those senior government officials from the Dinka come from. Go to the grassroots, to the people, and see how the life of the ordinary Dinka people are. And then you will realize that humanity finds place in the center of every social or political gathering or organization. So that, for honestly, whoever defines the problem of South Sudan as the problem of Equatoria by other communities, he is more dangerous to the Equatorians than the perceived enemy. So none of a person like myself will not accept that. And I have given example before of countries that has experienced the same problem, but now they are better, they are well off. Let us just take, for example, the politics in Kenya. Yes, to some extent it is attributed to some elements of ethnicity, but they still hold themselves together without any plan or essence of separating, other than alliance, so that each of and every, the majority have their say, and then the minority go their way. So there is no reason. Those separatists are people who are just 24 hours on the media, on the social media, and they are the one is spewing the more problems. They are the very people who are causing the suffering and the disintegration and the disunity of our people. And by any word they issue, it is amounting to the life of the innocent, ordinary people, even in Equatoria, because by saying Equatoria is the problem, I mean, so and so is the problem, and there is somebody who is innocent down there who does not know that, then somebody, for instance, when I said Dinka is now the problem, yes, because Salva Kiir is the president, and now I'm forgetting that Waniga is there as the vice president, is from Equatoria. I'm forgetting that Martin Elia is there as in Equatoria, just to say they are being bought. That one is malicious thinking. That one is malice. That one is really a thought. Even somebody down in the village can think far better than somebody who thought that way. So the issue of separation is not welcome, and we are not part and parcel of that. We need to see the unity of South Sudan based on new arrangement, on something that we all have to sit down and agree. If it is the governance, which is form of governance, can make us all South Sudanese compatible with everybody, every community having their interests being reflected in the government and their interests being taken care of, other than vilifying each other on the basis of ethnicity or regionalism. That way we cannot solve, because if we let others go, oh, the Equatorian came along, tomorrow it will become now the issue of even the Bari in Equatoria will say, okay, Equatoria have tribes. So that one is not really something reasonable. And any reasonable person, even from other communities, should really not take those things seriously. Those are just people who are maneuvering to find in their way. But that is not the truth of the matter. The truth of the matter is there is failure in the leadership of the government or of the country that need to be corrected. So that is the thing. We have to all stand by it, regardless of where you come from, which region you come from, which tribe you come from. Let us confront the failure and fix the problem of the country, so that together we go forward. That way we can find a peaceful South Sudan for all of us. And finally, as to whether Thomas is effective now or not, will be determined by days ahead. But what I know is, when I said this before, when you see a responsible organization claiming responsibility for what they have not taken part in or they have not done, automatically you will know that this person is already ineffective. So he's just looking for attention, so that the international community will see that they are still relevant. But what I know, day one, since the day the group of Thomas and his few individuals, the politicians actually who are with him, most of them, by the way, they have vested interest. These are people who have invested a lot of their own energy and resources just for the sake of their own interest, because they wanted to gain in the event that agreement is reached through General Thomas, or anything will come positive from us, they will take that credit. So now they can do anything at their disposal, including the even targeting us from the decision we have taken. But we shall not leave them to continue deceiving the people of South Sudan. And even if it is, because even in them, those who are just maneuvering and just cornering General Thomas, among them are those elements who have that feeling, the separatist thinking in their hearts, but they are not open enough. And we shall not leave them to continue tormenting our people for their personal interest. For the last 7 years, we have given them enough benefit of doubt to prove them either they are leaders who stand by the people in what they say than what they say in what they do than what they say. But up to now, we have confirmed and proved beyond doubt that these are individuals. Most of them are not honestly revolutionaries. Part or half or even 3/4 of them are men and women who have even participated in looting this country together with the current regime. And when things now turn out, they now invested what they have looted in foreign countries, and they're enjoying this loots in the foreign countries in the name of struggling for the ordinary people. The real revolutionaries are the ordinary South Sudanese who are languishing in abject poverty back home and in the neighboring countries. And these are the people we are taking concern. If there is anything we can reach with the current government to restore sanity, to restore really peace back in the country, then there is no reason for us to really sit and negotiate. And this is the position we are in, so that any other claim, all this propaganda may be there, but we are not going to work with it. Our target now is to see the people of South Sudan really get peace, true peace, peace that must be really accepted and talked upon. And the leadership even back home there, the government must be told that they either stand by the people of South Sudan, or with the time, God is watching whatever they're doing. So this is the position we are in. So that all the other claims, I consider those the politics of those who don't know what they are doing, or those who don't know the reality on the ground, and we have nothing they can say. It is their right to say it is their freedom, given the freedom of expression that is happening in the modern world today. So up to here, I think I have to say this is all I can say. And back to you.
I have one more person who has joined recently, and Comrade Manon is down here. Please, if you can give us 1 minute question, if you have any, and then General, when you answer the question, you will give us your final remarks straight away, and the clubhouse will remain open. Thank you. Go ahead, Manon.
Okay, thank you, Rock and Medit and South Sudan Eagle Media, and also I greet South Sudan's who tune in and those who are the panels, and also I greet also our guest, General Stephen. My question, General Stephen, NAS Revolutionary Command Council. You show the interest from the day one that you guys released the declarations, and now there is possibility this month that negotiation may take place in Kenya, Nairobi. What are the issues in your Revolutionary Council that are actually going to be tabling a negotiation talk in Nairobi? Are you guys going to bring the same similar principle of declaration of the NAS that was actually declared a couple of years ago? Or you will have a different agenda that actually you are proposing with your team and table it in a negotiation? That is my question, and thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. I think you are late, but I would like to say our position, as I said before, NAS, our position have not changed. The objectives have even not changed. What changed is the transformation from NAS to the NAS Revolutionary Command Council, because the Revolutionary Command Council is the composition of the forces, the generals who were actually commanding the forces on the ground, dismissing General Thomas based on the reasons attached in the declaration statement. So there is nothing that have changed. We are engaging with the mediation because we believe even General Thomas himself, in the statement he issued, the first statement he issued having to the Basin and accusing the Republic of Kenya for security reasons, was by itself a blunder. It was a blunder, and is really lack of diplomatic approach to issues. And he has not learned from his colleagues, and the real SPLM. Yes, even if there are reservations, these parties up to now, we have not seen them coming openly, really to blatantly accuse the country who has taken upon itself the responsibility to mediate. So that one by itself is the indication of the lack of the leadership and the lack of direction. Actually, General Thomas have allowed himself to be surrounded by people, as I said, people who does not know or who does not calculate what tomorrow brings when it comes to politics, and he has to reap the consequences of the blunt decisions they are taking. We are here for talks. We are engaging, and on behalf of this movement, we have said in day one we shall respond to the talks if it materializes, unless otherwise. But we are prepared for that talks. Then we shall table our case like any other party that will table its own case based on the objectives for which we spent all this time, the last 7 years in the bush. So our position have never changed, and we stood by that, and we shall go by it, and we shall see the outcome. If the talks is going to materialize, what else? Is he going to convince the mediation or the mediator to come back and to debate from the blatant statement they have issued and to turn back? That one is something not for me to say, but our position now is we are ready to talk. We are ready to talk and to negotiate peace with the government for the sake of our people of South Sudan. And
All right.
I think, as you said, I have to give the conclusive remarks, if I may.
Yes, you have to. Thank you so much. Go ahead for your final remarks, and then we will go to Francis Limbe.
Yes, in conclusion, I would like to first and foremost appreciate you, Lake State, for approaching us. I don't know you guys, whether by friendship or by relations or by whatever means. I don't know you guys, but I came to know you when you approached us to interview us on the events that occurred when we issued the declaration on the 5th. So I would like in a special way to say thank you, and I hope you are a media house that reflects media in its reality with all the basic principles of a true media, so that whoever is doubting you for the reasons well known to them, but not because you have interviewed us. You have interviewed us as individuals who are responding to your requests, like any other media that wish to even interview us. We are 24 hours open to respond to whoever would like to talk to us to get the version, so that the information is not biased. People have to know exactly what happened, and then we tell our version. And if also you will contact the TC group and the few individuals who are still following him, you are free to contact them to also know the other version from their side, to reconcile what we are saying and what they are saying, so that you find where exactly the point of disagreement is. So we have no any problem with you, and whatever accusation laid against you, it is up to those who will accuse you, but it is not in our policy. Secondly, I would like to say we are here and we shall always be here, and in just for this peace, sustainable peace for our people, whether through this negotiation in Nairobi or through any other means, as long as it will be a binding way that can bring peace to our people, we shall always be responsive there. Or any other way that can bring peace There are so many options. Any other way that can restore peace back to the people of South Sudan. This is what we are much interested in, and we pray that every really kind-hearted and loving South Sudanese who see this country in his heart to work day and night to see that we as the people of South Sudan come to our senses together and confront ourselves honestly to address our differences and to restore this country back to the right track, to the track of development, to the track of peace and security, to the track of economic recovery, and to the track of rebuilding the destruction that the war has caused in this country. And if we love this country, it is my wish and will to those you as individuals who love South Sudan, or entities or groups, be them civil society organizations or the government that we are advocating or we are looking to talk to. If they really love the people of South Sudan, given the current situation, I look to it that there is no any other time now other than now. There is no any other time for us, for the leaders who truly have this country at heart, to come down and rescue the people and this country at large. Else, the unexpected will be seen if things continue this way for the next months or next years to come ahead of time. But I wish really the leaders take responsibility and they now begin from today to lead, because not everybody is the leader, but there are leaders within the leaders. So let the leaders come out of the leaders to begin leading now, leading the people, not leading themselves or leading their interests, so that we really fix this country. We fix the mistakes that together we have committed as a people for this country, and we put South Sudan back. I was really almost shedding tears when one of a friend in the neighboring country, who is really a true friend of this South Sudan, was talking to us, appealing, why are we South Sudanese really destroying our country? Why don't we have this country at the heart? South Sudan is having the potential to grow, even to develop more than Kenya, Uganda, or the other neighboring countries. But why don't we have this country at the heart, so that we really give chance for development to take its course? But I just say, brother, I really acknowledge and commend your feeling for us. But we as the people whom you are really concerned for is not having that feeling. If there are individuals, there are only few among them, and few among the leaders. So it is my wish, you who are in diaspora, whoever is a South Sudanese in every walk of life, wherever you are, our people need education. Our people need health. Our people need good environment. Our people need development. Our people need happiness in their life. And our people need unity above everything. So my appeal is for us to forget our differences, come to our senses, sit down, address our issues, leave politics aside, and concentrate on the final values that can push this country forward. Because there is nobody else will come apart from us South Sudanese to fix this country, regardless of our thinking, regardless of our affiliation. It is enough with the tribalism, enough with the regionalism, enough with this sectarianism that is in the hearts of many. And these are the factors that is keeping us apart. So I'm really appealing, let every media house that is really monitored or administered by South Sudanese embrace the culture of unity, the culture of love, peace, and togetherness. Else, we are going to lose the chance of having a state called South Sudan in the next time or nearest future. So I thank you for contacting us. Our door is open. Whoever want to talk to us, we are willing to talk. We are willing to talk to any civil society, media houses like you, and even political groups. Our differences with the government, with the other opposition, or even including General Thomas himself, should not really tie us to the extent that we should not greet or even talk to each other. We have to begin thinking politically positive. We may have political difference, but we are still brothers. We are still South Sudanese. We are still one people who are looking for a common destiny for this country, so that we should not allow political differences to really destroy this country completely to the ground. This is my appeal to you people in Lex Eastern Media. And there are a lot of things, but with the time, we still have time to share with you. And let this be a message that peace begin from this communication. Talking to each other is the beginning of peace, even at home. As a child and a father, when there is a problem, the first thing to inculcate peace is to begin to talk. It's from there, that is the foundation of peace. And let peace prevail in the hearts of all South Sudanese. Do whatever you can as individual or as a group to make sure we realize peace in South Sudan. This is my last message, and thank you very much.
Thank you so much, General Loponi, Stephen Lokaja, for your great remarks and accepting our request to come for the interview. We appreciated that. Thank you so much. Let's go to Francis Limbe. Unmute yourself and give us your 1 minute final remarks. Thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you, Abram. Thank you, Stephen, again. I just want to say Southern Sudan, they're fed up in that situation that facing them now. Our economy is falling down. Our social fabric is breaking apart. Southern Sudanese people, they need peace. They want all the people to lay down their guns, whether the government or the opposition, so that they can yield to the peace and bring prosperity to the country. Nobody own the guns, no any tribe own the guns, but the only thing that is peace is the only victory for our country. So I wish you, especially the Lake State, I wish you one day to invite all the opposition party and the government to come to the round table to discuss exactly what is the way forward to bring peace and stability in our country. So Stephen, let me wish you good luck in the step that you have taken, and I wish so that your idea can go to the other people so that they can listen. What is your mission? What you want to accomplish? What you want to bring to the country? Thank you, Abram, again, and I say let me end here. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Francis. My name is Isaac. I'm one of the Lake State media hosts here. Abram is at work, and I took over from him. All right. May God bless you guys. Stephen, good luck for your vision, and we wish you all the best. And for those in the clubhouse, the clubhouse will continue running, and the Lake State media shows in the other side will end from here. May God bless you. May God bless the Republic of South Sudan. May God bring peace among all of us. Thank you. Have a good day. Good night.
Thank you.
In Juba, Military, hey, William yo, Pin Ping William. Toin Benti wala kwaju, kaya wow, Pin Ping William. Toin Malkal wala Pinyaram, Pin Ping William.